What's happening, guys? Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be talking about never breaking down a quote to your customers. It always ends up in quite frankly, a shit sandwich. So let's go through it. First and foremost, depending on whether you're in the residential market or the commercial market is going to determine how much you would need to break this down. The commercial market is more of a competitive pricing game. So you're likely going to be filling out what's called a bill of quantities or a tender pack, where your line items of every part of the job, you're actually listing out exactly what costs those are. Now, you might not want to put the split of materials and labour within that, because then it opens up to too much scrutiny from a quantity surveyor or an estimator on the other side, on the client side. But when you're in the residential world, that isn't really a problem, because the residential world are buying on brand, trust, credibility and referrals for the most part. So for the purpose of this video, I'm talking purely from the residential market point of view of why you never want to break down your quotes in too much detail, because I used to do this. I've made all these mistakes. I've been in this for 20 years. I know every trick under the book that clients come up with to try and scrutinise quotes and back you into a corner that's just a problem. So the first thing is labour. If you split down the labour to do a job, the customer, first and foremost, does not understand the value of that labour. They don't understand the cost of an electrician, a qualified carpenter, a very highly skilled tiler, decorators. They don't understand the costs. So they're just going to see costs and then think and compare probably to what they earn or what other people they know earn and think it's expensive. They also don't understand the logistics of running a job, how many people it takes to involve, even things like lifting and shifting a lot of gear into a job or a site. They don't understand the amount of man days and manpower that takes and requires to do the job. So the minute you break down labour, they just start looking at that and going, well, it's 10 days, and they're going to hold you to that as well, and it's going to create massive problems. And then materials, if you start listing out materials, individual costs, what that can lead to is they then start thinking they can buy it themselves and buy cheaper than you, and which is just quite frankly stupid. They think they can buy cheaper than you when you've got trade accounts and you're in the industry, you're in the business. It's a bit like going to a restaurant and going, well, I'll buy my own food and you cook it for me. It doesn't work, it doesn't make any sense. But people try and do this sort of stuff and it's fucking frustrating, but it's because they just don't know what they're doing, they don't know what they're talking about. So we've got to control it from the start. Because buying it themselves, what they don't understand, and an example that I can remember is listing out the cost of radiators. And a client thought, you know what, I can buy those radiators cheaper because they can start working out I've got profit on the radiators, I'll buy them myself. But not understanding the amount of pipe work, valves, all sorts of other stuff, fittings and screws and fittings and all the little bits you need to fit the radiator. The customer doesn't see that or understand that. So it's only going to end up in a massive problem if you start listing out individual materials. And then what that can lead to for the wrong clients, and you don't want these clients, these are the clients you want to avoid, is they start thinking they can DIY bits and go, well, you do this bit, I'll do that bit, and you do this bit, which ends up being a complete shit show to organise and deliver a job. It turns into a nightmare, because then they don't deliver on what they say they were going to do. They don't do it well enough. They create more problems. You have to then get involved. It then costs them more money. They then don't want to pay you. And it just goes on a constant circle of just bullshit, and you're just better off just walking away from these jobs. It's pointless doing them. It's pointless entertaining those jobs. It is going to be an absolute nightmare. And then next, the big thing in the UK, VAT. Now, you've got to show VAT on an estimate and on a quote and invoices. That's just how it is. But it's just another thing I wanted to tick off in this video, that customers always try and see the VAT and go, well, I don't want to pay that. And they just go, I don't want to pay that, so I'll try and pay you cash, which is not good. It doesn't work. Like, the only person taking the risk in that instance is you, the business owner. And it doesn't do anything for you. It's a nightmare from an accounting point of view. It's a nightmare from trying to build a company. It's a nightmare from a paperwork point of view. It's more hassle than good, especially these days. No one really takes cash these days. Not to mention you're breaking the law of HMRC, and it's not a way to build a scalable business. It's a short-minded mindset to think, yeah, I'll get cash and I'll earn loads of money. It's pointless. It's a waste of time. If you're trying to grow a decent business, you've got to charge VAT like everything else in the world. There's VAT on petrol. There's VAT on food. There's VAT on hotels. Everything anyone does in normal day-to-day life has got VAT on it. Construction, building industry is exactly the same. There's VAT on it. Tough shit. That's the rules the government sets. How it is. If you don't like it, go and live somewhere else. But your customers will always try and do this bit and pull that lever and go, I don't want to pay that. You've got to be firm and say, look, this is what it is. I can't save on the VAT. Because then what they want, the same people that don't want to pay that, they want a receipt and they want warranties, which then proves that they've broken the law, you've broken the law, and you've just dodged HMRC. So what's going to give? Do you want good service and good reliability and good aftercare, or do you want to save a few quid at the front end and try and scam and defraud HMRC? What's the point? It's a pointless. That's it, I've said enough about that. It's waste of time. The next thing is, when you provide a good quote that is lump sums, you know, for the scope of works you want, this is the price to do that job, it's an all-in cost. You've got great transparency there because you're actually doing the right thing from an ethics standpoint. You've actually priced the job correctly. There is a lump sum to do that job and it's a fixed cost to do that job. Unless there's a genuine variation that comes up on site, the customer has got total transparency, right? That is the cost. I'm not going to get hit with extras that are like just stupid extras and not unavoidable extras. And I'm not going to be in this race of, well, we'll do it on price, or we'll do it on day rates, and we'll do it on this and that and maybes, and then you don't know what the price is going to be until the end. Because if you run a job like that, you're going to get to the end, and I guarantee you, you're going to be in ball ache and arguments. And they're going to start tracking back and going, well, you only did 5 days on this, you only did 2 days on that, that took you 2 days. They'll never list off the things that took you longer or took more materials, but they'll always list off the things that you took less than what you said you would have done when you've broken down your labour and materials. And it just ends in a fight, and they go, well, you quoted 10 days, you've only been here 8, so I'm only paying you 8. But what they're not understanding is that you took the most important thing. You took all the risk. You took all the risk on from pricing the job and delivering the job. So if you deliver the job in a better way, that's quicker and smarter and more efficient, but the client still gets the end result and the finished product, and it's amazing, which it should be if you're listening to this, your quality's got to be on the point, then it's your benefit that you save some money in the middle. That's called fucking business. That is what business is. Again, look at your restaurant. I like to just like things to everyday stuff. What does a restaurant do? They buy ingredients, if they're left over, they put them on a specials menu. They call it specials, but it's actually the ingredients that were left over that they were going to throw away anyway because they've not sold them or used them in other dishes. They create a special dish, they charge more prices for it and use it because they're increasing their margin. And they're running a fucking business. And that's just what it is. Facts of life and realities. And I think for the most part, for you guys listening to this, if you're in residential, you do not want to be breaking down your quotes because you're just going to create a lot of knock-on problems. And who's in control? You're in control as the business owner. It's you that dictates what you put on your quotes. It's you that dictates what prices you charge. And it's you that dictates what customers you actually work with, not the other way around. And that's the way you want to look at it. And what I would say is, just lastly, because I've missed it off, is that if you're doing a big job in residential, let's say you're doing a 200 grand extension, you've got a 200 grand job, you are going to need to give a bit of substance to that. You can't just say it's 200 grand on a one-line quote. Obviously, I think you know this, but I just want to point it out. But what I would do in this instance is you list out groundworks, for example, 20k, brickwork, package, total, 40k, etc. So you've got some substance at 200 grand. You're not going to get away with a one-way quote. But I think you get my point. If you start breaking that down into, well, there's 38 days of manpower on that, there's £6,000 worth of bricks, you're going to start causing all of these problems and start going into a complete headache. So you never want to break down quotes. You want to deliver a professional quote that's an all-encompassed cost, that's accurate, it's professionally presented, the customer knows the cost, they know the agreement, they know the terms of the job as well, and it's going to make a much easier life for you to run a business as well and operate too. So I hope that's been useful, guys. If you like this content, please share it, like and subscribe, whatever you want to do, it's entirely up to you. But equally, there is a podcast below this video in the link below. Listen to it on the go, loads of free advice on this business in the construction industry, and I'll see you in the next one.